This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to the program. We have a packed agenda today covering global energy markets, political shifts at the Federal Reserve, and the surprising ways AI is infiltrating our daily work lives.
Oil prices jump as Trump rejects Iran peace plans.
UK job losses loom amid rising energy costs.
Kevin Warsh nears confirmation as Federal Reserve Chair.
PM Modi urges Indians to boycott gold purchases.
Mike Ashley admits to spying on retail rivals.
EV makers struggle against restrictive state dealership laws.
Shadow AI use surges as employees bypass IT.
AI assistants begin managing fast food kitchen staff.
First, the energy market. Oil prices have surged by 4% after Donald Trump dismissed a proposed peace plan for Iran, calling the terms totally unacceptable. This rejection has sent Brent crude climbing to $105 a barrel, a massive jump from the $60 we saw at the start of the year. Saudi Aramco is already warning that this market disruption could last well into next year, potentially leading to fuel shortages. Despite the global tension, Aramco reported a staggering $33 billion profit for the first quarter alone. CEO Amin Nasser noted that the world has already lost 1 billion barrels of oil since the conflict began, and even if trade resumed today, it would take months to rebalance the market.
The geopolitical standoff is particularly tense because the Strait of Hormuz remains practically closed, which is a vital artery for global energy supplies. Economists point out that while Trump wants a deal, he is under immense pressure to secure strict nuclear concessions that Iran is currently refusing to grant. This deadlock is casting a long shadow over the global economy, with the UK's Item Club predicting that the resulting high energy costs could lead to the loss of 163,000 British jobs this year. Manufacturing and construction sectors in regions like South Wales and the Humber are expected to be the hardest hit, as they simply cannot absorb these sustained price hikes without reducing their headcount significantly.
Next, the UK outlook. The economic fallout from the Iran conflict is hitting the UK particularly hard, with government borrowing costs rising as pressure mounts on Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The Item Club's latest regional outlook is quite grim, suggesting that the energy shock will ripple far beyond just the industrial sectors. We are looking at a significant drop in discretionary spending as households struggle with the cost of living. This is expected to hit the retail and hospitality sectors in major cities, with London potentially losing 25,000 jobs and Birmingham seeing a reduction of over 12,000. It is a difficult moment for the government, especially following recent local election results that have already put the Prime Minister in a defensive political position, while bond yields continue to climb.
Investors are clearly worried that the lack of progress in the Middle East will lead to persistent inflation and higher interest rates for longer. We are seeing UK 10-year gilt yields rising faster than their US and European counterparts this morning. Even specialized companies like the polymer maker Victrex are warning that their annual profits will miss expectations because of these soaring raw material and energy costs. The Item Club emphasizes that lower-income regions have less of a financial cushion, meaning the drop in consumer spending there will be more immediate and severe. As manufacturing hubs reduce their staff to cope with overhead, the local service economies that depend on those workers' wages are likely to face a secondary wave of closures and layoffs.
Now to the Fed. The U.S. Senate is expected to confirm Kevin Warsh as the next chair of the Federal Reserve this week, a move that marks a significant shift in the central bank's relationship with the White House. Warsh, who served as a Fed governor during the 2008 crisis, was once known as an inflation hawk who favored higher rates. However, he has recently aligned himself with Donald Trump's view that current interest rates are too high, even calling the Fed's leadership broken in a recent op-ed. This confirmation is highly controversial, with Democrats arguing that Warsh will essentially act as a puppet for the president. The transition comes at a time when the Fed's independence is already under fire, following a criminal investigation into outgoing Chair Jerome Powell.
Jerome Powell has stated he will remain on the Fed's board as a governor until the investigation into headquarters renovations is fully resolved, which adds a layer of internal tension to Warsh's arrival. During his testimony, Warsh insisted he would be an independent actor, but he notably refused to answer questions about the 2020 election, fueling concerns about his political leanings. The stakes are incredibly high because the Fed controls everything from mortgage rates to the broader job market. If the central bank is perceived as losing its nonpartisan status, it could destabilize investor confidence on Wall Street. Powell himself warned in his final press conference that the institution is being battered by political pressure, which poses a long-term risk to the health of the entire American economy.
Moving to India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made a surprising appeal to the Indian public, asking them to avoid buying gold and to limit foreign travel for at least a year. This call for national austerity is a direct response to the economic pressure caused by the ongoing West Asia crisis. India relies on imports for about 85% of its crude oil, and the combination of high oil prices and massive gold imports is draining the country's foreign exchange reserves. Data shows these reserves fell by nearly $8 billion in just 1 week recently. Modi is urging citizens to use fuel with extreme care to conserve foreign currency, as the sustained pressure on the rupee has already forced the central bank to intervene by selling dollars to stabilize the currency.
Gold has a deep cultural significance in India, which is one of the world's largest consumers of the metal, importing hundreds of tons annually. Last year, gold imports hit an all-time high of nearly $72 billion, making it a massive part of the national import bill. Analysts suggest that while this call for austerity is a necessary crisis management tool, it could have a negative impact on India's economic growth in the coming year. The central bank has noted that every 10% rise in crude prices can shave 15 basis points off economic growth while pushing inflation higher. By asking the public to pull back on luxury imports and travel, Modi is attempting to shield the broader economy from a full-blown balance of payments crisis while the war continues.
Next, retail rivalry. In a dramatic admission, Sports Direct founder Mike Ashley has confirmed he was behind the secret surveillance that led to the downfall of his rival, Peter Cowgill. Cowgill, the former chair of JD Sports, was caught on film meeting with the boss of Foot Asylum in a car park back in 2021. At the time, JD Sports was trying to acquire Foot Asylum, and the two companies were strictly forbidden from sharing sensitive commercial information. The footage eventually triggered a regulatory investigation that resulted in £5 million in fines and Cowgill's departure from the company. Ashley told the Financial Times that he wasn't hiding from the fact that he wanted to topple his competitor, famously remarking that while Cowgill shouldn't have been in the car, perhaps he shouldn't have been in the bushes.
This incident highlights the cutthroat nature of the UK high street, where Mike Ashley remains one of the most unorthodox and powerful figures. Even though he stepped down as CEO of Frasers Group in 2022, he still holds a 73% stake in the empire he built from a single store. Ashley defended his actions by saying his career conflicts are driven by a sense of fairness, though he admitted he is no Mary Poppins when it comes to a fight. Cowgill had previously suspected a key competitor was behind the covert recording, expressing concern over the lengths they were willing to go. This admission confirms those suspicions and serves as a stark reminder of the intense personal and professional rivalries that define the leadership of Britain's largest retail chains.
Now to EVs. Electric vehicle makers like Rivian and Lucid are speaking out against a patchwork of decades-old state laws that prevent them from selling cars directly to consumers. These franchise laws were originally designed to protect traditional dealerships from manufacturers, but EV startups argue they are now being used to stifle competition. In states like Ohio, the restrictions are so tight that employees at service centers can't even offer test drives or discuss pricing with potential buyers. This creates an incredibly awkward experience where a customer can look at a car but has to go online or even travel to another state to actually finish the purchase. Rivian has even filed a lawsuit against the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles to challenge these rules, arguing they shouldn't apply to companies that never had franchises.
On the other side of the debate, the National Automobile Dealers Association argues that these laws actually protect consumers by fostering local competition which keeps prices down. However, EV makers say the direct-to-consumer model is essential for educating first-time buyers about new technology and maintaining control over the brand experience. As EV sales growth begins to slow, the pressure to make the buying process seamless is higher than ever. Companies like Scout Motors find it tragic that they have to navigate such restrictive barriers in a modern economy. For now, many buyers in restrictive states are forced into complex workarounds, like having their paperwork processed in a different state entirely, just to get behind the wheel of a new electric vehicle, which adds unnecessary friction to the transition away from gas.
Next, shadow AI. A new phenomenon known as shadow AI is taking over the workplace, as employees increasingly use unapproved AI tools to keep up with their workloads. One biotech researcher admitted to using a personal Google account to access AI tools that crunched 150 hours of work into just 30 minutes. He felt the risk of falling behind his global peers was far greater than the risk of a data leak. This isn't an isolated case. Surveys show that over 70% of UK workers are using unsanctioned AI tools, often on a weekly basis. While IT departments spend months debating safety policies, staff are taking matters into their own hands to find efficiencies, creating a massive blind spot for corporate security and data protection officers.
Security experts are calling this trend death by 1,000 cuts, because most employees don't realize the risks involved. When sensitive financial data or internal code is uploaded to a public chatbot, there is a chance that information could be regurgitated to someone outside the company. We've already seen major companies, like Samsung and Amazon, restrict AI use after internal data was found in AI responses. While enterprise versions of these tools exist that don't use data for training, the market is now flooded with specialized apps that have AI built in, making it almost impossible for IT departments to track everything. The pressure to be productive is clearly winning out over strict adherence to policy, leaving companies vulnerable to accidental leaks of their most valuable intellectual property.
Finally, fast food. Fast food workers are finding themselves working alongside new AI assistants that do much more than just provide recipes. At Burger King, an AI named Patty listens to drive-thru interactions to check inventory and even scores employees on their friendliness by tracking how often they say thank you. These digital managers are being rolled out at Starbucks, Chipotle, and Taco Bell to help automate scheduling and ingredient orders. While executives claim these tools free up staff from administrative headaches, some workers find them slow and unreliable. A Starbucks barista reported that their AI assistant often freezes or takes a full minute to respond to simple questions, which can be incredibly frustrating during a busy morning rush when every second counts for customer service.
There is also a growing concern that these AI tools act as an algorithmic boss that never stops watching. By monitoring real-time data and performance metrics, the AI can suggest exactly what a manager should focus on each day, effectively directing human labor through data analysis. Some employees have stopped using the systems altogether because they don't trust the accuracy of the answers provided. As the industry pushes for more automation to combat rising labor costs, the tension between human workers and their digital coworkers is likely to increase. While the technology has the potential to streamline complex kitchen operations, the current reality for many on the front lines is a mix of helpful shortcuts and technical glitches that can sometimes make a difficult job even harder.
That's our briefing for today. Join us again tomorrow for more focused stories.